Hi, this video we are going to see about human-computer interaction in software process. So when I say human-computer interaction, so how the humans interact with the applications. So that is what we are going to focus. So when I say interaction, there are three main golden rules when you create an interface design. So first, before creating an interface, you have to understand about the materials, who is going to interact, and the machine to which we are going to interact. So these are the three main things you have to concentrate on when you are going to create an interface between the system and the human. So this is the procedure to be followed when you are creating an interface design. So I hope you all know that when I say interface, say for example, if you're taking an Amazon website or any other web application, so how you interact with the particular web application, maybe through the front end or front page, what you say. So how you will design such type of an interface page where the humans will interact with the application. So what are all the things you have to consider, and how you have to start with the procedure, and what are all the steps you have to carry out for creating such an interface design as we are going to see today. And this is the procedure. First step includes you have to find out what is actually needed. Say what type of system it is, and what is the feature you are going to develop in the system. Say for example, if I take a shopping site, I need a feature like where the user can log into the page, he can search for an item, he can add the item to a cart, and he can make some payment. And at last he can provide some feedback. So these are all some of the features we are going to develop in the system. And when it comes to an interface design, how you can make the interface understandable and more easy for the user to use it. That is the main objective when you create an interface design. So first you have to find out what type of customer you have and what are all the features you want to provide in the system. So for that you can use either of the techniques, say interviews. So you can meet out the client and you can find out what are all the things to be done. So that can be an open interview or maybe a closed interview. Open interview means where you are free to discuss about the projects. When I say closed interview means you will be having a predefined agenda, and you have to stick on to the agenda, and you have to discuss the points to be discussed, not anything else. So this is one way for collecting the requirements. And the another approach is ethnography. So what you can do is you can visit the environment, you can find out what is the real need, and then you can frame the requirements from it. So this is the first step. So we are going to find out what is actually needed for creating the design. Then we go for analyze. So here we have find out what are all the things needed. Now we have to analyze what are all the features you have, in which way we have to carry out. Say for example, the first activity in shopping is the user has to log in, followed by searching for the item, followed by maybe adding to the wish list or maybe adding to the cart or something like that. So the sequence in which the task has to be carried out, all those analysis has to be done in the second stage, and then only we go for creating a design. And when we design, we have to follow the guidelines and principles, and sticking on to the principles only, we have to go for creating the design. Say for example, you have to use a noun phrases when you create a component and name a component. You have to use a top-down approach. There are a lot of guidelines So it should be simple and it should be understandable, it should be consistent, complete. So like this you have to follow what are all the guidelines and principles, and then you have to go for a simple design. So that initial design we say it as a prototype. You all know that prototype means a basic working model, so it is not a full-fledged system. It is a basis template on which we can fine tune and we can get a final system. So this is an iterative process. We go on, analyze and design until we create a final refined system. So you all know that whatever app you use today, every month or every week you have an update. So for each and every update we make some features because the requirements change every day. So accordingly we make some revisions to the existing prototype and we implement it. And finally we go for implementation and we go for documentation. The main purpose of documentation is like you may be working in the project today and may not to be tomorrow, and anybody who uses your system should know what is done in the system. So for that documentation is very important. So after implementation we go for creating the documentation, and finally we go for deployment. We collect the feedback and then we based on the feedback we fine tune it. So next lecture we will see about what is the activities involved in software process.